What's up guys, welcome to my garage. Today I want to talk a little bit about my Zuma build. A lot of you guys have been asking what I done, what parts did I use, all of that good stuff. So today I want to give a little bit of an insight what I done so far, what parts I'm waiting still, what I'm looking forward to do still. So let's start with the basics, right? This is a too fast cylinder kit. So what I decided to go with the stock cases, and the reason for that is I really like the look of the bike stock, like the wheel shape of the wheels and all of that, and I didn't want to change these wheels to a 12-inch wheel, and then it's not what I'm looking for. Initially I actually built the bike as air-cooled, but me being a guy, a two-stroke guy, and always looking for power, let's say, I wasn't happy, it wasn't enough. So I decided to go this route. So Too Fast is one of the brands. They actually provide a cylinder to convert this engine to 100cc and still using the stock cases. Granted, there is a lot of modification involved with that. The crankshaft is also a Too Fast crankshaft. It's a 47mm stroke, but the crank webs have a bigger diameter, and in order to make it work with these cases, we need to actually open the cases where the crankshaft fits. I might have a crankshaft or engine case that I can use to explain to you guys. This is what I'm talking about. I got these cases so I could do some trial and error, and the idea is we need to grind all this area to accommodate a bigger crankshaft. But when we do so, this surface area over here on a Zuma, on the very end, it's very, very thin. And when we grind this area, that surface disappears. So a solution for that will be to mill all this area down and then place a spacer in between. So because I don't have a machine shop and I do everything here in the garage, I got these cases to do some trial and error to see if I could do the job good enough to make it work. And I was able to do on that set of cases. This was my first attempt. I could see where I could fail, and I went through with those cases. Everything is working fine for now. But I still have another set of cases that I sent it out to a friend of mine. He actually owns a machine shop, and he's going to do some great work for me. I use the exhaust for one of those 100cc, let's say FL cylinders from Too Fast, but then I had to modify the flange in order to make it work and in order to make it everything fit properly. Same way goes with the cylinder. Like, the entire port mapping on the cylinder was changed. I changed. It is good enough from the factory. Don't get me wrong. I was just looking for a little bit extra. Moving on to the ignition. Right now I'm running a MVT ignition because the ignition that I want to use is not available. It's still back ordered for quite some time. So right now I don't have, the whole package is not dialed in completely. Like, I still need to work on the CVT, I still need to dial it in the carburation. None of that, it's set still. I'm still running a mechanical pump, which I have another setup. I have an electrical water pump, which should technically free up a little bit the engine, just not much, just by a little bit. as far as CVT transmission, I do have components from Stage 6. I actually tried first the complete Stage 6 kit. It didn't work right. And right now I'm running torque drive from Malossi, running a variator from Stage 6. And as far as gearing, right now I have a ratio of, if I'm not mistaken, 9.2. It is a fun gear ratio because the scooter as it is, it does about like close to 90 miles an hour, but it takes off fast. You know, like it's good to ride in town like that. It's like wheelies all day long for the guys that love wheelies. It's perfect. Like even wheelies sometimes when you don't want to. Going back to the intake. The intake was one of the problems that I was facing because I couldn't find a good set of reed valves or a combination of reed valves and intake, something that it will make me think, okay, I'm squeezing much power as I can from this package. I end up making a copy of one MXS, something like that, intake. I made it a base and I used some reed valves from a dirt bike. And then I had a rubber flange. I didn't like the position of the carb. The carb was way too tilted towards the side. It was not aligned quite right. I was having some issues. Later on, I found out someone that he had a flange available, that it works almost like a 360 flange from Poloni, but this one is way bigger because the issue here is I have a 35mm carb. It's a little bit of a struggle find a good way to have the carb, you know, exactly what I wanted, not having issues. Right now I still have a small issue where I think the carb is too tilted forward. I still think that the carb should be slightly more vertical. All of this cannot be done until you actually change the subframe on a bike. And the reason for that is the stock subframe, aside to be very flimsy, it also is on the way of the intake. So it literally have a bar across right where you have the intake. And you cannot do nothing without having a subframe. Which I will make a whole video about the subframe, what I done, which one I ordered, how I made it work. As far as everything else, the radiators, I got a set of cheap radiators out of eBay. They are for a dirt bike. I made some brackets. Some of the brackets are actually made in carbon fiber, and other ones are made in steel. Everything is still kind of like a testing. I decided to do this step by step and do some trial and error. Install a couple parts, run the scooter, see exactly what it could go wrong, what it can fail, what it was done right, and so far so good. I don't have any issues. The location of the radiators, it's pretty decent. Could be better, yes. I might change it on the future, and the reason for that is since I want to replace these plastics. These ones are the only ones that are not new. Everything else here is new. This one, this, some another one's on the front. I might be able to lower the radiators just a little bit, and the reason for that is on the summer it will be beneficial because it will get more air flowing through them. These engines, they can generate a lot of heat. A liquid cooled two-stroke, it should run between 45 and 50 degrees, no more than 50 degrees. after 50 degrees you start losing power. Also, you can run into problems if you have like really tight tolerances, if you have like too much squish, if you have too much compression, if you have like the ignition is way too advanced, all that stuff, you can run into problems if you start running above some temperatures when you're riding hard. Like I said, everything is a testing. I'm testing everything and making sure that I can go much as I want with no problems. So with that being said, like I still have a lot of parts on the bike that I don't like the way they are. I don't like them. As like I have issues with these clamps. I don't like to see these type of clamps in here. I want something more neat on it. But also, it's pointless for me right now to do anything because I'm still waiting on an ignition. Like I said, still waiting on a couple other parts. I'm still waiting on my rear shock. It didn't arrive. I ordered some cheap rear shock for now to see if I can modify the shock and make it work the way I want. And later on, I will do something with the front end of the bike because the performance that these engines can make, the chassis cannot handle. That's a fact. Same thing with the tires. I have on the way some slick tires. I might take this actually to the track a couple of times just to see how she behaves. But pretty much that's it. I don't have too much going on with it right now. I'm just waiting on a couple parts to arrive and going through the process of, installing everything and figuring out everything the way it works. Cool. See you guys next time.